Hello, welcome to this episode of Disruptive by Design, which features AFCEA'S Educational Foundation. Our Ed Foundation provides incentives, opportunities, and assistance to students and teachers engaged in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM disciplines. And as we celebrate Giving Tuesday, we're highlighting the importance of supporting STEM learning. Your contributions help us empower teachers and students and strengthen the future workforce. Attached, please find a QR code or links to our website for more information on how to give. And with that, please enjoy this episode of Disrupted by Design with AFCEA'S Ed Foundation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of Disrupted by Design. Today, we're sitting down with AFCEA International's Educational Foundation, and it's going to be so great to kind of delve into what the foundation is and what we do, which is some really great things. So today, I'm here with Emily Lund and Brittany Cardenas from the Ed Foundation. Emily, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Emily Lund. I'm the manager of the AFCEA International Headquarters Educational Foundation, the philanthropic arm of the association. And I've been with the foundation for almost 5 years. I started as an intern, but I left my job and helped supporting students and teachers in STEM.
And Brittany, how about you?
Hi, thanks for having us. My name's Brittany Cardenas, and I am the coordinator for the foundation. This is my second year at AFCEA. I've loved working for the foundation and with Emily and everyone else who is a part of it. Previously, I was a teacher in Fairfax County Public Schools for 5 years, and I taught third grade and second grade.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, for those who don't know that AFCEA even has a foundation, what is our educational foundation?
Yeah, we're a 501c3 organization, nonprofit, and our mission is to support STEM education with fields in STEM that align with AFCEA's mission. And so that includes information technology, cybersecurity, telecommunications, and electronics. These areas directly support the cyber defense, homeland security, and the intelligence communities, which AFCEA works closely with.
And our programs exist to ensure tomorrow's workforce has the necessary technical skills to be competitive in the fast-paced and ever-changing global security arena.
And we hear about STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But why is that important? What is STEM?
STEM really strengthens our critical thinking and problem-solving skills, especially in children, as they work through experiments and collaborative STEM projects. So they really build resilience and curiosity to improve when they're working on these projects. And we also have to remember STEM is often interconnected with other disciplines, which allows for students to be creative in their problem-solving skills and their solutions, and they take inspiration from art and history and writing and all of their other passions, which works to solving the future problems of the world, which require open-mindedness and innovation that STEM teaches us.
Right, sure, that's so critical.
Yeah, the heart of our work is making sure that both students and educators have the resources, recognition, and the support that they need to survive, or not survive, to thrive in STEM.
Right, sure. And any personal connections to STEM or examples that you wanted to share?
Yeah, of course. So growing up, I gravitated a little bit more towards the creative side of learning. So I was more of a reading and writing person, and math and science just sort of intimidated me, if you will. So because of those struggles, I assumed that I wasn't that great at those subjects, which I think is a lot of what students nowadays face. And they think they're not good to work in STEM because of that. So when I became a teacher, I carried I carried that intimidation with me, and I worried that I wouldn't do my students justice when it came to teaching math and science. But over time, I found inspiration through social media and colleagues. And so seeing their creative approaches to STEM really opened my eyes to what was possible. So I started experimenting with small things. So at the beginning of the year, I used to do a very small STEM project where the kids would create these spaghetti marshmallow engineering structural projects. And so they worked together in teams collaboratively, and they had a set amount of time to complete the project, but they had to create like the tallest tower with the dry spaghetti noodles and marshmallows. And you could just see how engaged and literally every single kid was. And you could also pinpoint their strengths while they were doing that. So that was really important to see. Another thing that Emily and I were talking about recently, which we actually funded a project before I started for one of the garden towers that you see. One of my parents' students ended up gifting us a tower garden to use at our school. And so my class had the opportunity to be the first group to learn how to do this aeroponic garden tower. So this was a soil-free gardening method that used air or mist for their environment to help grow these leafy greens. And so the kids got to grow their leafy greens, and then we picked it and harvested it, and they put it in the school salad bar. And so the whole school and community was involved in it, and that was a really great STEM resource that was available to my school, and we were so grateful to have that gifted to us. What I wanted to revert back to is that the reality that many teachers and students face is that there's limited funding for projects, and there's an increase in higher education costs. So supporting STEM education in classrooms often means that teachers personally fund their hands-on activities unless families or schools are able to contribute. So I still feel very deeply connected to the classroom in this position, and it brings me joy to see students fully engaged in these experiential learning opportunities. So hearing that we've helped fund passionate STEM students' tuition and eased their financial burden, it's super rewarding to hear.
Right, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And Emily, how about you?
Yes, I was a geographic science major at JMU, and I quickly saw how all my studies were interconnected, and my major was kind of broken up into two types of classes: the technical GIS, data programs, and GPS mapping, and then kind of more social and political issue-based classes. And my program did a really good job of showing how those merge together, and how STEM can be kind of the how of the solution and how you communicate your problem-solving ideas. So how we integrate science and technology to improve the real-world issues of today and tomorrow. And our grant programs help start these ideas at young ages in students K through 12. And the creativity of the in-classroom projects that these teachers come up with helps bridge that gap between these complex STEM concepts and the imagination and wonder in children. And then our scholarships help fund higher education for those students who are passionate about a career in STEM. So our grants help introduce to young students the idea of STEM with creativity into the developing years, and then the scholarships help college students achieve those goals.
So it sounds like grants are mostly for teachers, right? And then scholarships go to different types of students.
Yeah.
And is there any other funding mechanism other than those two?
Yeah, so so just to reiterate, our teacher grants help ensure that educators don't have to front the cost of STEM resources themselves. And then our scholarships and grants, like you said, are primarily directed towards schools and students with the greatest financial need. So each year, in partnership with AFCEA chapters worldwide, we provide over $2 million in scholarships. We have three main components in the foundation, and that's scholarships, grants, and awards, as well as fundraising efforts throughout the year to support these programs.
Got it. It was awards that I couldn't remember. But yeah, can you talk a little bit more about the STEM scholarships?
Yeah, of course. We currently offer 11 scholarship programs, and the eligibility varies per scholarship, but they're all STEM-based in the U.S., and a lot of them are also military, family, or veteran or active duty-based. And our spring scholarship application cycle opened January 1 through May 1. So if you're interested, please apply then. And then we have our teacher grants.
Yes, so our STEM teacher grants support educators who bring innovative hands-on learning to their classrooms and communities. So our grants are usually for K through 12 STEM and classroom projects. And the teacher grants are awarded on a rolling basis with application windows dependent on available funding. So we currently offer 2 grants, our Gravely and Page STEM Teaching Grant and the Sienna STEM Teaching Grant. All of our Sienna funds for FY25 have been awarded. That did not last long. We literally rolled it out, and I think the funds were gone in like a month. So there were a bunch of teachers in need of classroom projects that needed funding at the beginning of the year. But our Gravely and Page STEM Teaching Grant is now open. It opened today. It does not have a closing date, but like I said, it is open, available on the funding that we have. And we usually try to award around like 15 grants for those. And all educators across the 50 states are eligible. So it is very broad.
Right, I love that. And we're recording this on October 1st, so teachers, get your applications in there. And I know that I think emerging leaders play a role sometimes in choosing some of the grants. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, once we vet that the applications meet our eligibility, we pass it on to emerging leaders, and they review and just make sure that it matches up with our eligibility too, and that we have the funds for them, and they'll approve it, and then we award the grants on a rolling basis, so the teachers don't have to wait for the funds. By, in a few months they can get it right away, which is great, and start their projects.
Right, I love that. And our emerging leaders are those under 40, so I love that they're getting that community involved kind of in this nationwide or, kind of global aspect is terrific. And then can you talk about the awards?
Yeah, so the third branch of the foundation is our awards, which we have 3 award programs for excellence in STEM in the military academies, and ROTC programs across the country, recognizing achievement in leadership and academics. So we have our Copernicus Awards, which are presented at West and San Diego, recognizing individuals with outstanding performance and contributions in C4I and IT roles. Then we have our ROTC Honor Awards, which celebrate ROTC cadets and midshipmen in colleges across the country for their achievements in leadership and academics. And then our Military Academy Awards, also called our Clock Awards, recognize academic excellence in military academies and training commands of the uniformed services.
Right, sure. And as a reporter for Signal, I try to go to as many chapter events as I can. Of course, AFCEA has not quite 150 chapters, but we have kind of around the world, and so I don't get to all of them. But I have been at some, and sometimes it's in May at the end of school year, and they're kind of holding up these giant checks of grants or scholarships. But can you talk about, but that's on the chapter level, but we're here at AFCEA headquarters. How is that different than what the chapters do? How is what we do is different?
Yeah, so unlike the chapter level foundations, the headquarters foundation offers scholarships, grants, and awards with national reach as opposed to the chapter's local reach. So we do have like a broader pool of applicants who get to apply to our scholarships and teacher grants. So similar to chapters, we also support specialized scholarships tied to alma maters or individual donors. And so an example of one is our CEO, Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence. She has a scholarship called the Soldier for Life Scholarship, and this one supports Campbell University's STEM students who are currently enlisted at Fort Bragg. So she tied in something that was important to her, and she was able to start that scholarship fund for headquarters. And she's had a winner since, I think she's had like 4 winners so far, and they've all been so appreciative. And some have sent in some videos to thank her, and she's had the opportunity to go to Campbell and give her thanks to those who are in STEM and military. A new one that's coming is called the Logan Scholarship. This one's in collaboration with the VP of Intel, Mr. Ray Cross. And his scholarship will support a STEM student at Wallen Pawpock Area High School. I may be butchering that name because it's hard to pronounce, but it is, I believe, his high school that he went to in Pennsylvania. So something that's important to him that we're able to help fund a broader range of STEM students for this scholarship. And then our most popular scholarship is our STEM Major Scholarship. This one, we usually have over 200 applicants each cycle, which is pretty crazy for us. It's open to sophomore and junior undergraduate students who are studying AFCEA STEM majors that support the mission of AFCEA. And these are available to any kids at a U.S. university and adults.
Very cool. And we just recently had our annual board meeting and the meeting of the XCOM, and it's such a great event. All of us get to hear about kind of what's happening all across AFCEA, and of course the Educational Foundation, there was a briefing on that, and I really love learning about that. And I think one of the stats I heard was there's like 4,300 students that were impacted just in the last year of the STEM efforts. Yeah. Can you kind of talk about FY25 and what the picture was like?
Yeah, sure. We had a very successful year in giving. The Sienna grant that we awarded all 17 grants. It was $45,000 in just 2 months for this upcoming year, and that was projected to impact 4,300 students in K through 12, which is amazing. And then on top of that, we also had 20 Gravely and Page grants, which is K through 8, totaling almost $40,000. We awarded 51 scholarships in over $163,000. We had 27 Copernicus Awards, 120 ROTC Honor Awards, and 14 Military Academy Awards, which was, every year we're increasing those numbers and our giving, and it's very impactful, and we get a lot of great thanks back and photos and videos from teachers' projects, which is awesome to see, and we hope to get more of those back too.
Right, awesome. And can you share with us about some of your scholarship winners?
Sure, yeah. A few notable winners we've had the past few years. Rika Esquivel, she was awarded our Julie Walter Memorial Scholarship in memory of a beloved coworker here at AFCEA. And Rika was actually awarded the scholarship of $5,000 3 times because she was such a hardworking student and an excellent representative of Julie's scholarship. And she's a Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets and computer science major. So she's awesome. I know she's graduating soon, so best of luck to her. And then we also have had a few winners of scholarships from years ago, the 80s and early 2000s, reach out. So one, David Benheim, he won an AFCEA STEM scholarship for computer science in 2013, and he said that scholarship kickstarted his professional engineering career, allowing him to do an internship at Raytheon IDS right out of high school, and then he attended MIT, and now he's co-founded his own company called Mark Forged that designs, develops, and manufactures an industrial platform of 3D printers, software, and materials. So people really take these scholarships and do great things in STEM.
That's so cool. And how about some of the grants?
Yeah, so I'm going to touch on 2 Gravely and Page grant winners that we just awarded this past FY. And so one teacher in particular, her name is Mrs. Ladner, and her classroom was able to purchase 3D printers that brought the Dragon Dragsters project to life. So these Dragon Dragsters are cars that the kids can build and use engineering skills for. And it teaches them things like forces, motion, and friction. And they used something called computer-aided design and the engineering design process to create and print their own dragster models. So this hands-on experience empowered the students to apply STEM principles in a creative and engaging way. And they looked like they were really into the project when she sent the pictures and updates. So we're very excited for her, and hopefully she'll apply for another grant again.
Is that the one with the CO2 cartridges that power the cars?
I believe so, yes. From the pictures, they kind of had just the kids holding up their little creations, but I believe that is what they created. And then similar to that as well, we have Mrs. Fry's students who have spent over 40 hours immersed in hands-on coding experiences using something called Dash Robots. So this is an excellent tool for introducing young learners to the fundamentals of programming and coding. With this support and the Gravely and Page support, Mrs. Fry was able to implement these advanced STEM activities that that challenge students to think critically, solve problems creatively, and collaborate effectively. And they had these cute robots that were racing around their classroom, and the kids could learn how to code and do those fun STEM activities with each other.
Oh, that's so awesome. And you mentioned our great president and CEO, Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence. She's such a wonderful leader, and one of her passions is golf, which I love. You know, she not only plays golf, she watches golf, she knows about all the tournaments, and she spread her love by starting a tournament. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So we just wrapped our 3rd annual golf tournament on Monday. We sold out and we registered over 144 golfers, and we sold a large majority of our sponsorships. So usually our golf tournament is held at the beautiful Army-Navy Country Club in Arlington, Virginia. We want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors. They were very generous, whether it was with swag bags or just helping us out with just bringing your company and networking with each other at this event. We are sitting down today to count our earnings, but I think we did pretty well.
Very successful.
Yes. Just based on the event, we had a very successful raffle with donated photography from people who are in AFCEA. We also had a coveted and sought after bourbon basket that people were trying to bid over. And our 50-50 raffle winner went home with $800. And our mulligan sales were through the roof this year. So those were just things that we were able to collect before sitting down and looking at what we did. But we're constantly trying to improve and trying to make each year more successful and fun. In the past, we've had cigar sponsorships, an Arnold Palmer and John Daly sponsorship, exciting hotel raffles, and tournament contests to keep everyone on their toes. And so we hope to see new and returning faces next year if you could not join us this year.
Right, love that. And how about, what else is going on in your calendar as far as nominations for some of the awards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're entering this new fiscal year, so our Copernicus Award nominations for the previous fiscal year, FY25, are currently open through November 1st, and then those awards will be presented at West in San Diego. And then our spring scholarship application cycle is going to start January 1 through May 1 again, and those will be awarded for the fall semesters. And then we're also taking this time to focus on shaping and growing the foundation for the future of the foundation and our impact on students and teachers' education, as support is becoming increasingly more important with the rising cost of college and often a tendency to lose funding in public schools. So we're trying to get even more money out there and support for STEM.
Right, I love that. And one thing I loved hearing about this past year that AFCEA headquarters did was they matched a contribution to what the LA chapter was doing. Can you talk about that?
Sure, yeah. The foundation matched the AFCEA LA's chapter donation of $10,000, so $20,000 total, to Palisades Charter High School in LA that was unfortunately devastated by the fires earlier this year. So they're rebuilding that over the next few years, but meanwhile they are working out of a retrofitted Sears department store, which is really interesting, so they can still all be together. And the students, I think, are in good spirits, and hopefully our donation will.
And if people are interested, where can they find out more?
Of course, please visit our foundation website, which is afcea.org/afcea-educational-foundation. Or you can email us at edfoundation, that's edfoundation@afcea.org.
Right, and you can learn about the awards, scholarships, and grants there if you're a teacher or a student. And then how about if you want to donate? How can people donate to the cause?
Yeah, so you guys can donate via the AFCEA Educational Foundation webpage, which we just shared with you, or you can email us. You can attend or become a sponsor during our annual golf tournament that's held every year. We're always looking for sponsorships and people to come and join us because it's a fun time. Or you can use the QR code that we will link and give you that will go straight to our donation page via Stripe. And like I said, reach out to us via email and we can help you get squared away with that.
I love that. And thank you all for your support of STEM education and the AFCEA Educational Foundation. Thank you guys both for the work that you do. It's amazing.
Thanks so
you
much.
so much. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.